For the first time in season 25, the Vancouver Legion are at home here at Canada Field, sporting a 2-0 record with wins over two of the league's best teams, Arizona and Baltimore. They look like frontrunners to go back to the championship game and potentially go one step further. On the other hand, the Chicago Warriors come in at 1-1, and they have looked like a team of two halves in their first two games, dominating Minnesota, putting up 35 points, then only scoring 3 points in a loss to DC last week. Which Chicago will show up tonight? Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Torello. Happy to have your company. I've got Alex West on the broadcast with me tonight. Alex, really, we know what Vancouver's going to do. They're going to throw the ball. They're going to put up a bunch of points. Can Chicago match their week one performance and make a game of it?
Well, that's truly the question, isn't it? And it's all down to that man you see on the screen right now on the right-hand side. Number 11, Ty Patak, is going to be the key to how well the Warriors are going to do tonight. The Legion's offense is expected to fly high. They are perennial offensive juggernauts. So it's just about how close can Chicago make it. Their defense has looked very stiff in the first couple of games, so it's just about whether or not their defense can slow Vancouver down enough and whether Ty Patak can lead his team like he did in week one.
It'll be Chicago on offense first. Black helmets, white jerseys, gold and red trim, black numbers for Chicago on the road. It's the white, blue, white, and gold for Vancouver. And there is that man, Ty Patak. All the offense runs through him at the quarterback spot with no contracted running backs on the roster, but it will be a play action on first down. Man in the face of Patak, and it forces an overthrow. Here are all the weapons Patak has to work with. Caleb Griffiths, John Fullerton, Bobby Tarantino, the wide receivers, Dean Jackson and Paulie Truth are the tight ends. Jackie Jones, Jess Fullerton, Galarza, Finney Flex, Rick Ross, and Robin Mono are on the offensive line for the Warriors. Second down and 10. Just a three-man rush, and the pass is caught by Paulie Truth. He's got 2 touchdowns on this season, tied with a bunch of others for the SFL lead through 2 weeks.
And this is something that we're going to see Chicago do quite a bit of. They're more than happy to put Paulie Truth out at the wide receiver spot at times. I think it's just because a matter of they only have 3 wide receivers and 2 tight ends. Getting an opportunity for Paulie to get matched up one-on-one against a smaller cornerback tends to play in his favor.
Truth, the 2-time All-Star, 6'6", 251, cuts a very intimidating figure out there in the wide side of things. They will run the ball off to the right-hand side. This is James Stewart, and he'll be stopped up for only a gain of 1. Here's the Vancouver defense. Defensive line, Kevin Brackett, Achilles Papatonis, Chris Joseph, and Gerald Giudicessi. Linebackers, Josh Farnsey, DJ Woods, and Marquise Reed. And the defensive backfield is Emmanuel Blackman, Michael Lister, Ron Hoff, Jack Russell, Drew Hamilton, and Mark Lopez. As all the time in the world Patak has in the pocket, he'll complete to Griffiths for another first down to keep the drive moving for Chicago.
And this is absolutely the kind of offense that Chicago loves to try and run when they have the opportunity. Whenever they sense that the blitz isn't coming, they want to get Patak out on the move, get him in a rollout situation, because then the linebackers either have to play off the line of scrimmage, giving him opportunities to run up the gut or run across and scramble, or just hit someone behind the linebackers.
Handoff middle, nothing doing there. I see Plotagon Show in the chat. If you're new to the Simulation Football League, welcome, Plotagon. This is football for everyone here in the SFL. You can get off the sideline and be a player today by joining our Discord server. Go to simfl.net. That's simfl.net. Click the join the community button and begin your career as Ty Patak is sacked, and that'll bring up a third and very long 18 yards. So go to simfl.net and you could be the next player that gets a sack on Ty Patak.
Could be, but do keep in mind he is very hard to bring down, making it look easy there as the inside defensive tackle, but not everyone is an all-star lineman.
Third down and 18. Tarantino in motion, make it 3 on the near side. Attack, sidearm action, completes to Fullerton, but he's well short of the first down. And Vancouver, thanks to that sack by Gerald Giudice, will stop Chicago on their first drive. But I do want to say a lot of positives from this first Chicago drive.
Plenty to be smiling about. You don't really have much of a run game, but you weren't expecting to. The run game, such as it is for Chicago, is generally speaking a type attack scramble or a type attack draw or a play action that type attack decides, and no, we actually do need to turn this into a Statue of Liberty. So it's a kind of a recurring theme. He is finding his targets so far. He's looking calm out there. That was a good strike, 14 yards out there. The ultimate reason this drive goes down is because he didn't have a good clock in his head. He'll sharpen up.
Great field position for Vancouver as the punt by David Ruish pins them back at the 12-yard line. Here is the venerable Christian Brown in his 10th SFL season. Hands off to J.W. Doyle around the left-hand side. Turns the corner and picks up a 12-yard first down.
The former headhunter, one of this entirely restocked backfield for the Legion, hitting the edge and making a move early. You don't expect fullbacks to rumble like that all the time or get that many chances to move the ball in their hands, but 6'2", 260, he's more than happy to throw out a stiff arm.
J.W. Doyle may be listed as a fullback, but he spent plenty of time at running back in his career. He's 97 rush yards from passing the legendary A.J. Francis on the all-time list. With a big night tonight, he could get that. Christian Brown finds the crosser. That's Ezekiel Bear in his second season and moves the chains again for Vancouver.
That's going to be the real challenge, isn't it? Ezekiel Bear, the last draftee of the last draftee the Vancouver Legion get their hands on, and he has been an excellent extra weapon for them. He's starting to come into his own as well. I think he's finding those spaces that are in the soft spots of the zone, and Christian Brown is coming to trust him.
2 plays, 2 first downs for Vancouver as they're out of the shadow of their own goalpost all the way near the 40. The pitch goes to Devin Lloyd, and he turns upfield and breaks arm tackles deep into Chicago territory. 3 plays, and Vancouver has flipped the field.
Warriors flying all over the field, but doing a little bit too much flying. Folks, you can't just leave your feet and hope to God that you get a shoulder on someone. No, you got to get in the contact there. Put your chest into him. This is just one instance where a little bit of foot movement, a little bit of nifty steps by Devin Lloyd leaves the defenders skidding and whirling.
Lloyd, his first season with Vancouver after coming over from Pittsburgh, was an all-star back in season 23. Here comes the blitz. They throw past it, and Brett Killian, like he has done so many times in his career, makes a gnarly one-handed snag to put Vancouver in the red zone.
I can't think of a single receiver that I've seen that goes up into contact and looks for those kinds of contested catches nearly as much as Brett Killian does. And I have not seen another receiver come down with nearly as many. It's like the hospital pass to him as the first down marker.
Killian second in the league all time in both receptions and receiving yards behind D.R. Sim. To the end zone, it's going to be caught 2 yards shy by Ezekiel Bear. First and goal, Vancouver.
And look at how efficiently Vancouver has found themselves in a goal-to-go situations. It hasn't even looked difficult. Their offense is clicking. Everything is just coming together. Now they just have to punch it in. An 81-yard drive so far, almost guaranteed to end in points.
They'll stack him up behind the under center Brown. It'll be Lloyd at the fullback spot. Little trickeration, but he can't break the offensive line. Second down and goal.
Just reset, reload. I think that's getting a little too cute, though. I know you can shift your guys around, but you're in goal. Just power O it, no?
Now they've got Doyle at that fullback spot. They'll hand it to him, and J.W. finds the EZ for 6 points, and Vancouver is on the board first.
And Vancouver's response to my suggestion is, yeah, but you know what? Lead blocking is for chumps. Watch this. Simple fullback dive to the right side this time. Vancouver marches downfield 84 yards, almost before you can blink. 4:20 left in the first quarter, and Chicago is now on the back foot.
84 yards in 7 plays. That's 12 yards per play for Vancouver. Perfect efficiency for the Legion on drive number 1. And if that is how they mean to continue in this game, Chicago's got a lot of work to do to keep up.
You absolutely have to make some kind of adjustment. You can't let Christian Brown go 3 for 3 every single time that he's out there. He's got to get a little more uncomfortable. Chicago's going to have to find ways to make him uncomfortable, whether that be creative blitz packages or some interesting line stunts. You just got to find new wrinkles. But really, the problem has not been Chicago's defense. It has been the question mark is what's under center. They had an ugly week last week on the road, and they've got to avoid it here.
That was J.W. Doyle's second rushing touchdown of the season, tying him with quarterback Christian Brown for 2 each. Devin Lloyd and Jalen Wells still looking for their first touchdowns of the season. Chicago runs into a brick wall known as Josh Farnsey, and whoa, Tyrone Wheatley is down for the count. Bring out the referee. Start counting down.
Man, I don't even think that you need to do the countdown. Just get that man out of there. TKO, hands above the head. He's getting off with assistance. He'll be the next man up. I guess this is part of what they understood could happen, but you hate to see it.
So Wheatley out of the Chicago backfield, leaving just James Stewart and Charlie Garner back there. Play action, Patak on the rollout, pressure in his face. That ball got tipped at the line of scrimmage, but still fluttered into the hands of Pauly Truth, and it brings up third and a manageable 2.
Only Pauly Truth could be on the other end of that pass and still catch it for the Chicago offense. Two-time All-Star really making it look effortless.
3rd and 2. Normally this would be a running situation, but for Chicago, it's a pass, and Patak runs away from the blitz and picks up a first down. I mean, Ty Patak is better than a lot of running backs this year. 22 carries, 113 yards, and a touchdown on the ground coming into the day. He leads all quarterbacks in carries and rushing yards ahead of Johnny Pickler, who's at 13 carries, 56 yards.
Well, you saw the future there, Trillo. You saw that it was going to be a run. You just didn't realize it.
This will be a run. That's James Stewart picking up the carry. And Chicago does run the ball because they're averaging 118 rushing yards per game. And you can't get that with just Ty Patak scrambling for 113 yards over 2 games.
A lot of it's all on the shoulders of those anonymous men in the backfield who are just doing their best to keep the defense honest.
On the offensive line as well, Patak down the throat of the defense and incomplete near the 40-yard line. Mark Lopez had the crucial intervention that time. Him and Andy Hamilton have been doing the majority of work with putting these playbooks together for Vancouver with Brett Killian, the head scout. Now 3rd and 8, 4 wide, 3 on the left. Could be a mismatch down there. Patak will roll away, still roll away, try to scramble. The running back misses a block, and Patak goes down for a sack. Second one of the game for Gerald Giudicelli.
And he breaks one, and Patak has an opportunity here. He breaks one tackle, gets Papatonis off of him, but the second heat-seeking Giudicelli comes in to seal the deal. You can't shrug off a 340-pound guy and a 350-pound guy back-to-back.
Second punt coming up for Ruesch. This one from his own 20. Really good punt, flipping the field back to the 24-yard line, but a better return by Nick Lockett up near the 40. We'll spot him at the 39.
Leading through traffic like he's a motorcycle, and it's just a whole bunch of parked cars on the interstate. Look at him just zipping and zagging through the lane.
And if he'd gone back left there, he probably could have got 5 to 10 more yards.
Could be, could be. That's one broken tackle or one lucky block away from pay dirt.
And I want to talk, Alex, about this backfield for Vancouver. 3 players go out, 3 players come in. And they had one of the better backfields in the league last year as well, with Ike McBride, Mateo Privado, and Pseudo Nakai, as it's 1st and 10 from the 39 for Vancouver. 2:10 to go here in the first. The handoff goes to Lloyd, and he'll pick up 5. But they went and did what I consider the Yankees strategy, just picking up some of the best guys available in Lloyd, Doyle, and Wells.
And you got to wonder just how easy was it for them to land some of these big names having lost in the championship game. Not everyone likes to join a championship frontrunner, but to be part of that reload, everyone likes that.
Great stiff arm from Doyle. He got the touchdown on the first drive, and he puts a man in the dirt to get a first down to start the second drive.
They're running angry back there. I'm telling you, maybe they heard me say that they're not real running backs because they're fullbacks, and they are just determined to prove a point. That's some big man running.
Other than those 3, not a lot of changes in the offseason for this Vancouver roster that went to the title game last year. I mean, Frank Burks comes over from Fort Worth, Zach Turner from Houston. Handoff, a broken tackle by Lloyd. He'll pick up 5 on first down for the second straight set of downs. On the defensive side, Kevin Brackett from Sin City returns to Vancouver after a long stint with the Legion previously, and then Chris Joseph comes over from Houston. Other than that, this team is mostly the same as the team that was 4 quarters away from a title last year.
Indeed. Everyone, only about 6 new free agents, and then the 2 rookies that have just joined in. Oliver Couch at the center, and then you got D'Angelo Lopez over wide receiver. But even so, that's still a lot of continuity, a lot of returning faces, a lot of regulars, a lot of people that are known in the community and are known in this franchise.
D'Angelo Lopez doesn't have a catch yet this season. Lloyd bursting through the middle for another first down. So complete opposite of their first drive, Alex. It was all explosive big plays, averaging 12 yards a play. Now they're just chipping away at it with the run game.
Just no need to get too fancy with it. Go body blows for a little bit. Work it, and now you get to go open things up and go over the top.
1st and 10, empty set. Christian Brown against the rush. Looking for Lockett, and it's broken up on the back end by Dylan Bamchalor.
Bamchalor absolutely lowering the shoulder and doing everything he can to play that catch. Jarring the ball loose is his reward. Great job there, fella.
5 seconds to go in the first quarter. This will play the last play of it on 2nd and 10. Brown looking into double coverage. Derek Majors was there, as well as Hamburger, I believe, to break that one up. And I said that was going to be the last play of the third quarter. I didn't think we'd go that fast. So there's 1 second left on 3rd and 10. This would be a big stop here for Vancouver for Chicago, with Vancouver just on the edge of field goal range at the 34. Brown, plenty of time, goes check down to his tight end, John Michael Sudduth, who cannot keep his feet in bounds. And at the end of the first quarter, it's Vancouver 7, Chicago nothing, but Chicago going to get the ball back after this. This is the Simulation Football League on the Virtual Football Network. Michael Turillo and Alex West holding down the broadcast desk here as your late Friday night SFL block continues. Got to shout out our statisticians tonight, Takeda Yuki and Justin Rezine, and of course, Cameron Irvine at the controls. Long field goal, but a good field goal for a chance to win, and it's a 2-score lead for Vancouver. They lead 10-0 right at the start of the second half.
He's had some long ones, don't get me wrong. That's as well within his capabilities. 49 is his season long coming into this one. Now he's 6 for 7 so far.
I would like to see something from Chicago here on this next drive. I mean, their first drive wasn't bad. An ill-timed sack put them well behind the chains. And then their second drive, they leaned on the rush a little bit too much for my liking.
especially with the composition of this offense, right? You can't just say that you're going to run the football into the teeth of one of the better defenses of the league without a contract halfback and expect it to go well.
Vancouver through 2 games, giving up 20 points per game. Type attack under pressure, lets it fly, and again into double coverage and incomplete. Lopez and Ron Hoff there to break it up.
And so far what we've seen of type attack is fearless, but that's kind of one of those moments where you wonder if you wish that he might have just a little bit more fear in him. Winging it into double coverage with the safety high, corner low, that's a tough window to fit the football in.
I formation on 2nd and 10. Truth goes in motion. Attack 4 of 7 passing. They'll play action. It's broken up and intercepted.
The dangers of
Hamilton.
The dangers of double coverage striking again. The corner was underneath, the safety was high. Drew Hamilton read type attacks angle the whole way and found himself with nothing but space, just focused on bringing that one into the chest. Great job. Now the ball's flipped again.
2nd interception of the season for Drew Hamilton. 56th of his career, currently sits 30th all time. And gives the ball back to Vancouver with all the marbles in their corner. That's a really bad mixed metaphor. I'm not saying that again. First down is a run off the right-hand side.
Well, regardless of how you want to mix your metaphors together, this is already an incredible position for the Legion to be in. Now all they want to do is just work the clock and see how much they can take away.
They will continue to run J.W. Doyle as he puts his 6'2", 260-pound frame to work.
I've seen bowling balls rolling down with less attitude than that man. That was just mean intentions.
Does a bowling ball have attitude?
You see
I'm going to question
right?
that one. Pitch to the right-hand side to Devin Lloyd. He breaks an arm tackle of Bam Chalor and gets 9 yards on first down as the Legion break into the red zone once again.
Gonna question me? Who do you think you are? I am.
Fair play.
Oh goodness, Vancouver is just ecstatic with this position. Now they're inside the red zone, only 1 yard to get a fresh set of downs.
From the 16-yard line, 134 yards to 35 here in this first half. They'll pitch it again. Doyle has the edge. He's got a first down and out of bounds.
And they've gone to that split back toss play to Doyle on the outside a couple of times. I think the reason it keeps working is they can't guess which back is going to get the ball because it can go either direction.
Defensive line shifts. They'll pitch it away from the shift. Excellent audible as the pitch goes out to Lloyd at a 5-yard pickup. It's really important, Alex, for Chicago to get at least a half stop here because if Vancouver gets in the end zone, it might be getting late early for the Warriors on the road.
A 3-score game before we even get to halftime is an ugly place to be.
Pitch. Doyle. Stiff arm. Touchdown. He's into the blue turf for the second time in this first half. And it's extra point pending, a 17-0 Vancouver lead.
He's just playing bully ball out here. J.W. Doyle wanting to see just how many new numbers he can get up there. This is just a malicious run right here. Knows that he's going to have the safety coming down, is waiting for his opportunity.
I didn't even write it down because I didn't think it would happen. But 2 more touchdowns tonight for Doyle, and he'll go past former Seattle Tyrant Zach Sandlin on the all-time rushing touchdowns list.
Whoa, talk about having some motivation to get some numbers up there. That would be, well, a 4 touchdown night. That's That's one heck of a night.
Yeah, but completely doable with how he's played so far, and seeing that inside the 10-yard line, he is the go-to guy for Vancouver. Now Chicago with it all to do, down 17-0 on the road, a packed Canada Field. This is a fan base, as we're going to get a clipping call on the return to back Chicago up even further. But this is a Vancouver fan base that has watched their team on the road the first 2 weeks take down Arizona and Baltimore. You think they were fired up to get their Legion back on home field tonight?
Oh, you can bet your britches, and you can feel it in the air around here. It's something that really, I think the team had an opportunity to get some issues, some frustrations after losing the championship game last season out, get those ugly moments out on the road, and they still come out with 2 wins on top of that. It's already a party atmosphere in here.
And they did it in style, destroying Baltimore 41-17 as Patak back to pass, flips it out, pass is caught by Caleb Griffiths. First down just past the sticks. And then in week 3 after a bye against Arizona on the road, pulled away late to win 31-24.
And it's and the Arizona win is one that I point to because Arizona, that was their first defeat. They had a very big win of their own in week 1 against the team that beat Vancouver for the championships, those Mexico City Aztecs, those back-to-back champs. So them having a win against the team that beat that squad means something.
Patak rolls into pressure, breaks the tackle, and almost throws a pick to Hamilton, who deflects it out of bounds.
The pressure is getting there and getting home. The only thing is Ty Patak is pretty hard to bring down if you're not a linebacker, and Mark Lopez does his best. He's not small, 6'3", 225, but Ty just shrugs him off.
Handoff crunched. DJ Woods, big hit, loss of 1, 3rd down and 11.
I feel like I just watched one of those National Highway Transportation Safety car crash test dummies just get rammed into a wall.
Another 3rd and long for Patak to try and navigate. He'll roll away from pressure, throw deep, and overthrow his intended receiver, but a flag comes out, and the referee may just be about to bail out Chicago.
They're going to call it defensive pass interference, but let me tell you, if that didn't happen inside the gridiron, you could just upgrade that to a personal assault. That's just a straight-up mugging.
Jack Russell, a little bit too eager to lay some lumber on the wide receiver. And Chicago's going to be gifted a spot all the way up near midfield here at the 48. Tarantino in motion, tracked by Lopez on the back end. That's safety against wide receiver. Patak takes off, gets a block at the 40, spins, and is going to pick up a 1st down.
And that's that Ty Patak magic right there. He extends plays with his legs, and then if you don't have someone playing QB containment, he's going to scramble on you if he sees a sliver of daylight downfield.
Credit to Pauly Truth on that play. Did pick up a nice block to give Patak that extra space. He did need to pick up the 1st down. Up to the 42-yard line now. Patak quick throw over the middle, and that is a better 1st down play at Griffiths than the deep shots that they've been trying.
And it's something that they really need to think about how they can incorporate more of that, because these deep shots have not been paying off.
Patak has to scramble again, trying to get away from Judas Sessi, and he can't do it. That's a really fast 350-pound man running down the quarterback.
I think that is what they were thinking of. That sight right there is what they were thinking of when they came up with the old "is your refrigerator running" joke. Because yeah, I just saw a refrigerator run.
3rd and 2, Patak sneak, he got it.
Up the gut, the first designed run for Ty Patak of the night, and it won't be the last. They are more than happy to throw him just off one of the center shoulders. You got to guess which one, though.
2 receivers on the left, 1 on the right. Play action, roll strong side for Patak. Fires down, the numbers picked off by DJ Woods.
And the field was shortening as the yards to gain got deeper, or got slower and slower in terms of how deep the safeties were going to have to sink. This just allowed the linebackers to play the underneath more. And with these crossing patterns, you just see so many blue jerseys sitting in a zone waiting for something to come in their airspace.
First interception of the season for DJ Woods. Just the 3rd of his 5-season career. And he gives Vancouver the ball back again and preserves the first half shutout for the blue and gold. Ezekiel Bear, who's been a solid target for Christian Brown today with two targets, but it's been the ground game that's really been showing up for Vancouver. Devin Lloyd takes a big hit but picks up 8 yards.
And something that really hits home for how I think this has been going so far is that everything that could go wrong for Chicago has. The only time they've looked sharp is when they've managed to get to Christian Brown.
They show pressure, but Doyle just runs right through it and picks up a first down.
Both of these backs are averaging well over 5 yards a carry right now, and they're both creeping up to 10.
Devin Lloyd, 7 yards a carry. J.W. Doyle, 5.9. Jalen Wells has only been in there to block. Doesn't have a carry. The pitch to Lloyd. Can he turn the corner? He does. And he gets another first down. And Chicago has another injured player, Peter Merck, the defensive end.
Peter's still looking to make his mark, the rookie, now coming off the field. He's a little bit on the lighter side for a defensive lineman. He's 265, but that's because they use him as an edge rusher. Pretty speedy. Got to wonder if maybe he needs to add some weight or just at the very least do some bulking.
1st and 10, now Chicago down a star defensive lineman. And that just makes it all the more easy for Devin Lloyd to cut through the defense like butter.
And let me tell you, this Devin Lloyd is looking like the lightning to J.W. Doyle's thunder. This is just a dynamic backfield that we see in Vancouver. A real problem to deal with.
Doyle bounces outside. Oh, still almost got the first down on a busted play. Derek Majors does a good job to force the stop and bring up 3rd down.
And you know who I saw lining up at halfback behind Doyle on that play? Ezekiel Bear. There he is again. Let's see if they throw another fullback run in here.
Wouldn't be surprised. It's been the modus operandi for Vancouver so far. Killian with a little misdirection over there to the right-hand side of the line. 3rd and 1, Chicago looking for a stop. And they won't get it. Devin Lloyd is carving up this Chicago defense with the help of that Vancouver offensive line.
Trickery, misdirection, smoke and mirrors. Which of the two backs is going to run? Which way is it going to be? Keep them guessing and off balance. And by the way, don't forget there's a Hall of Famer lining up to catch passes here.
You're up 17-0 with J.W. Doyle and Devin Lloyd in the backfield. I don't think Vancouver really needs to throw the ball unless Chicago gives them an inkling that they're going to get back in this game on the other side.
I'm telling you, and with how J.W. Doyle is running right now, if this keeps up, I know it's early days, but if this kind of production keeps happening over the course of the season, J.W. could be winning his first All-Star award in 10 seasons.
2-minute warning here in the first half. It's all Vancouver all the time. 17-0. 2 interceptions have contributed mightily to that big gap. And also Devin Lloyd and J.W. Doyle running the ball. Christian Brown just 4 of 6 for 49 yards. Hasn't even need to throw the rock. All he's had to do is just hand it off to the fellas behind him. Lloyd breaks 1 tackle and a second and gets to the edge and picks up an 11-yard first down.
Devin Lloyd out here mauling, just pure energy whenever he hits the edge here. There's so much speed that he's almost impossible to wrap up, especially when he just shucks the shoulder down like that. This is a 1-2 punch for the ages.
Lloyd used more as a receiver before coming over to Vancouver. 12 yards a catch, 74 receptions in 3 seasons previous. Doyle at the edge gets to around the 10-yard line before being ushered out of bounds. Only 32 carries and 110 rushing yards. 100 of those are his career numbers before tonight. 100 of those this season. So just 10 rushing yards before this year. And he might be about to double that tonight. He already has up to 105 on 13 carries.
Look at him go. I'd say it's a new day for that man in his new position. He's an absolute machine in that backfield.
A career night already for Devin Lloyd, and he's on the hunt again, and he's got great blocking, and he's going to find the end zone. It is all Vancouver, an avalanche here in the Pacific Northwest in the first half.
Chicago may be used to the cold weather, but things are just a little bit different here in the frozen north. They are looking absolutely stuck in the snow. I can't even imagine what Chicago could do in the second half to come back, because Vancouver's offense has figured it all out already. We have not seen them actually be stopped. They have scored on every drive.
And now that last play, Devin Lloyd, he could have walked into the end zone with a cane. The blocking was so good. Nick Lockett, Ezekiel Baird, John Michael Sudduth all picked up blocks down the field, and all he had to do was walk into the blue turf.
Acres of space. You couldn't be more right. It's one of those things where you don't need ball carrier vision to see just that much green.
I think the graphic on the top right speaks for itself. 226 yards to 87, and the 2 turnovers as well for Chicago. Hope you haven't forgotten to hit that like button. It's super simple, and you'll help the channel out. We've just crossed the 8,500 subscriber mark, so subscribe if you haven't already. You'll never miss a live stream, highlight, or podcast. Thank you for your support of the Virtual Football Network and the Simulation Football League. We've had a couple of newcomers in the chat across the games this evening, Alex. It's always good to see the league grow and new people find this product.
It really warms the heart. You know, for a lot of the broadcasters that are in the booth, a lot of y'all have been here for 5, 6, 7 years, and I'm barely here in my second year. It's still magical to me.
Patak under pressure. Flag flies again. Last time it was Jack Russell that was penalized in the Vancouver secondary. Let's see who they'll throw the flag on this time. This time it is Mark Lopez.
And what I appreciate about these calls is that the ref is being fairly consistent with the call here. I'm not seeing it because, you know, it's just because it's a bang-bang play. No, it's because the defender is turning their head away from the football and is no longer watching that. They're instead just looking to lay the hit. That is what seems to be the trigger for these flags, and those are the flags that I agree with 100%.
Best offensive play for Chicago in this first half has been pass interference.
You didn't have to do him like that.
1:09 to go. Patak on the run. Lopez this time gets home. He says, "You're not breaking this one."
Oh, and you can get away with it once. You can maybe get away with it twice, but 3 times the play action rollout only works when you actually have a run game to fake that you're going to.
And once again, Chicago way behind the sticks. Third sack of the game for Vancouver. Ty Patak gets most of it back. And a timeout taken by Chicago. They're down to one left in this first half. Great catch by Fullerton.
This is the second time it's close but no cigar on these long third downs, right? It feels like a recurring theme where Patak is throwing to where if the receiver makes the catch and breaks a tackle, he can get the sticks, but otherwise no.
3rd and 2, check down. Excellent defense by Vancouver. It'll depend on the spot, but I don't think they picked up the first down.
No way, he was moving backwards. He didn't even have, whenever he initially caught the ball, he was not far forward enough to even have it counted forward.
Defense on the field on 4th and 1.
I love it.
Under 30 seconds to go first half. Patak looking for a hero play, and he finds Dean Jackson. First down. One timeout still left for Chicago. They're going to go up tempo though. Patak, a strike, a broken tackle, and there goes John Fullerton. And maybe a spark of life for Chicago right at the end of the first half.
A little something, a little pulse here at the very least, and this is the kind of thing that Chicago needs, which is unfortunately hero ball. It is Ty Patak who is going to have to sling this rock into single, double coverage, and receivers who are going to have to break 1 to 2 tackles again and again to be able to generate these explosive plays. But Chicago has the weapons. They have the personnel.
Christian Ronald Suey on for the extra point. It is 24-7 Vancouver with 37 seconds left to go in this first half. And Alex, I agree with your point to a certain extent, right? But under a minute to go in the first half, down 24-0, I don't mind stretching it a bit to try and pick up a big play and get some momentum going into the locker room.
Yeah. It's one of those unfortunate catch-22s where you do want to try and have Ty heave the ball down the field, but also the pass rush has been getting home a lot, right? So you can't have too many plays that take a long time to develop in your play sheet here.
But I'd like to see more of those quick passes like they did to Dean Jackson, and even that touchdown to Fullerton was kind of a quick strike, just a go route, as Vancouver's going to run out the last 30 seconds of this first half. If Vancouver is going to bring consistent extra pressure like they've done this entire first half, the way to beat that is diagnose where that pressure is coming from and throw to the gap it leaves behind.
Couldn't agree more, but it's executing that's the hard part, especially with how creative Vancouver's defense has been at disguising those blitz packages.
Oh, Lloyd, one tackle away from breaking it again, and we're going to go to the end of the first half. It's all Vancouver, a little bit of life from Chicago right at the end, but 24-7. And you look at the 2 previous games Vancouver has played this season, 41 points, 31 points. They're well on their way to continuing to be the league's best offense here at the start of season 25.
Couldn't agree more, and I think what really tells the story of this first half is if you just look at how each drive ended for these teams. Vancouver, excluding this 2-play drive they had to end the half where they just ran out the clock. They scored every time their offense touched the football, and their offense got at least 1 extra possession because of those 2 interceptions that were generated. One that snuffed a promising Chicago chance at trying to score a touchdown. It has been gut punch after gut punch, but the Warriors seem to have rallied at the very closing moments of that first half. They need to ride that momentum into the second, figure out what they did right and do it again.
And they've done it by grinding out this game. Like 4 minutes 45 seconds on a drive, 9 minutes 44 seconds on a touchdown drive, 7 minutes 18 seconds on a touchdown drive. They have just been eating away at this clock in the first half. If we look at the time of possession, as I have lost it, unfortunately, 8 minutes 37 seconds for Chicago, 11 minutes 23 seconds for Vancouver. Chicago kicks off to Vancouver in the second half, 24-7. There is a light at the end of the tunnel for Chicago. They did score that last touchdown of the first half. But Vancouver, it's been all on the ground. Alex, I didn't ask you for your player of the first half, but I think I know who you're going to say.
I have two good options. I could say J.W. Doyle if I wanted to give a nod of the hat to the fact that J.W.'s been doing some physical running and has 2 touchdowns here, but it just feels like Devin Lloyd is one play away from evening up that touchdown count. 125 yards on 15 carries is hard to beat, and there's a whole second half to play.
Devin Lloyd, through the first 2 games of the season, had 100 rushing yards in 2 games. In the first half of tonight's game, he had 125 rushing yards and gets 9 more on the first play of half number 2. He could be going for a 2-bit here tonight.
If you were asking me here now if I were to put money on Devin Lloyd hitting the double century mark, I would put money down on it right now. Not even a question in my mind. This man is on pace to hit 200 yards as long as he stays healthy.
Over 130 yards now. And with Vancouver having this big lead, they're just going to continue to run the ball like here to Doyle, but Doyle doesn't get the first down as Alex Bond, one of the big veterans on this team, 13 seasons in the league, a 3-time All-Star, comes up and makes a big stop in the A-gap, bringing up 3rd down in inches.
Bond playing a safety, playing as a linebacker there.
Lloyd bounces outside, gets the 1 yard necessary as J.J. Bailey delivers the hits. This is a reloaded Chicago defense. 6 players changed from last season, along with the rookie Peter Merck, who got injured in that first half, has yet to return. Strong side run for Doyle. First man to him doesn't get the tackle, but Alex Bond does. If you're a 13-season veteran like Bond is, I mean, leading by example, coming out of the locker room there with 2 big stops.
Have to, but it's also one of those things where this defense reminds me a lot of the Jimmy Johnson Miami days, because they've got multiple safeties here all having to step up and play linebacker duty. They only have 1 contracted linebacker on the roster. That's DJ Kilgannon.
The pitch to Lloyd. I want to talk about that pitch play, Alex, because it has worked all night long. And I think what you just said, right? The safeties are having to commit to the middle. So if you sweep, the lateral speed just isn't there from this defensive line of Chicago.
Exactly. You got Alex Bond, who's incredibly fast, quick on his feet, and he's been Johnny on the spot for a lot of these runs that have come in between the tackles, but when it's gone outside the tackle, he's been a little slow to respond to those tosses.
Here's a toss. Doyle and Bond again. 3 tackles on this drive, all for either 1 or no yards. He's doing his part.
This time he finds that gap in the line where he's able to squirt through, but you see how the top safety, J.J. Bailey, was actually coming screaming down and over-pursued on that toss.
I form on 2nd and 10. Chicago shows pressure. Lloyd breaks through the line and picks up 8, bringing up 3rd and a manageable 2.
4-3 defense look here from Chicago, but you know that they've got 2 people playing out of position, and really you could argue that they might even have another one just because of how they only have 3 contracted linemen on the roster.
3rd and 2. Big chance for Chicago to get off the field here, but they will not, because Lloyd gets a first down to the 30. And you had the chance to sit down with Chicago coaching staff before the game, Alex, and one of the things that they said was they're looking to fight with high aggressiveness on both sides of the ball, and I think maybe it's hurt Chicago's defense a little bit.
It certainly feels like they have been trying to gamble on looking for those opportunities to generate tackles for losses and hits in the backfield, and while it works at times, we see it here, Vancouver as a unit is so consistent that you have to beat them play after play after play after play. And every time you miss on these gambles, Vancouver is hurting them badly.
That time they went with 3 down linemen and still got a no-yard stop. For the first time on this drive, Christian Brown to pass. And with all the commitment to the run, the back end is wide open for BK12 down inside the 10-yard line.
Once again, it's just body blow after body blow, and then as soon as they finally move to protect the ribs, try and protect the breadbasket, boom! Right in the jaw. Night. That's a first down and goal.
Now inside the 10, they go 5 wide, really trying to spread Chicago out. Brown with time. Thrown to the end zone. Oh, it should have been picked off. Dylan Bamchalor couldn't hang on to a gift. And Vancouver licks their wounds.
And the home crowd sighing in relief. Everyone's heart rate just skyrocketed as Christian Brown throws his second pass of the half, and I think maybe he's just a little bit rusty here.
They're still showing throw here, Vancouver, on 2nd and goal from the 9. With just the single man in the backfield. They will give it to Doyle, and there's no protection for him because all the tight ends were out wide, and now 3rd and goal from the 9.
And I really think that this is a mistake by the Vancouver offensive coordinators. Calling these spread packages gives the advantage to Chicago, who has a very light defense overall in terms of actual mass.
10 tackles on the day for Bond so far. Brown looking, end zone, caught at the goal line, and he's in, touchdown!
How on earth did he cross the plane? Well, he's Brett Killian, and he got the angle. He has the inside leverage here, so the defender trying to drag him to the turf doesn't have enough to force him out of the end zone before he's able to cross the white stripe.
In real time, it didn't look like he got it. Oh, that's really close.
It's the left foot. The left foot crosses the plane. They could challenge that, but I don't think that they're gonna.
Might have challenged that if I was Chicago. But either way, it's a touchdown for Brett Killian. His 2nd of the season, and it's 31-7, and a tough task just became a seemingly impossible task for the Chicago Warriors.
Just from bad to worse to even worse. This is a situation where you can try as you might to dig yourself out of a hole, but you're already so far behind that it feels like you might as well just dig deeper and come out the other side. You might have an easier time with it. Ty Patak has quite the Herculean effort ahead of him just to make this one come to even.
Touchdown number 131 in the illustrious career of Brett Killian. He's already a Hall of Famer. He's already 2nd all-time behind DR Sim in catches, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. And of course, DR still active, still pushing those numbers even higher into the stratosphere. Patak has to get that pass away quickly, and maybe a little too early for Paulie Truth as he wasn't ready for it.
And that's also an incredible hit by the safety who comes up to play that one. Throws his body in the line there. Jack Russell has an impeccable sense of timing on that one. Maybe even gambles a little bit and gets away with an early hit. Who knows?
Another PA rollout. Patak deep, caught. Tarantino out jumps Drew Hamilton and extends the drive for Chicago.
And this doesn't feel like it should be working, but it's a gamble and a half. They find a one-on-one matchup where the safety is having to play a zone, and there's an opportunity for Ty to land this beautiful rainbow back shoulder throw, and he just fits it in a thermos. Oh, no!
Oh, look out. Mark Lopez is in the backfield again. His 2nd sack of the game. And that one was immediate.
They talk about getting blindsided. No, this time you got absolutely sideswiped. Boom! Lopez was there before he could even look downfield to read what the coverage was. No time to react.
Art Lopez has just doubled his career sack numbers. Career sack numbers tonight from 2 to 4. Nice recovery, though, by Patak as he finds Fullerton for a first down.
That can't be right. Wait a minute. You're telling me this guy's been in the league 15 seasons and he has 2 sacks career-wise?
He's a safety.
Yeah. What? They just now figured out they can call the safety blitz? He's been so fast tonight.
Chicago on the plus side of the field for only the second time tonight. First time was that last drive of the first half when they ended up getting a touchdown. Patak under heaping help with the pressure, and he goes down again. Kevin Brackett gets in on the sack action.
Gang, that's an absolute legion right there. Just so many blue jerseys beating their one-on-one matchups. You see 3 different linemen putting three different defensive linemen getting penetration there, forcing Patak into a collapsed pocket in seconds.
Patak forced to scramble again, and Lopez is there again playing the spy.
That's half a sack, right? Surely that's half a sack. He only avoids the sack there because his forward momentum gave him a yard.
Another third and a country mile for Chicago. Patak complete and running free. Paulie Truth. He takes the SFL lead in receiving touchdowns with his 3rd of the season.
And this is just an incredible job by Paulie Truth to win a one-on-one sprint and just go. It's nothing too flashy. It's just as simple as, can you win the foot race? And he does. This is the kind of advantage that Chicago has. They have 2 of the most athletic, incredibly dynamic superstars on offense, and they just have to leverage them into favorable matchups.
Chicago doubles their points from 7 to 14. Still looking up a really tall deficit, especially with how Vancouver's been moving the ball on offense with their running backs. And I think Vancouver tonight is pretty much laying out a blueprint for how to deal with this unorthodox Chicago style, right? Run the ball and keep the ball out of Ty Patak's hands as much as possible. And even last week when they lost 9-3, it hasn't been as much offense, but DC kind of followed the same metric.
Not only that, they're also showing that you can accept that Paulie Truth is probably going to beat you a couple of times and still maintain a massive advantage by just containing the run game. Understand that Chicago can't do throwing the football forever and ever. Amen. So
J.W. Doyle, what is going on?
They can't even contain this run game. You need linebackers, folks. You need 4 linemen, preferably on defense. It's rough. It's just rough to see how easily Vancouver is just pushing everyone around.
Remember, Chicago down to 2 starters at defensive line because Peter Merck, the rookie, went off injured earlier in the game. They're down to just Jag McPherson and Brickshaw Molyneux. Brown looks deep, caught. Great game for Ezekiel Bear, by the way, in his 2nd season.
Giving me just a little bit of a shade of what happens over there in Lexington. Gabe Manning is one of the biggest, easily most recognizable wide receiver ones out there, and he has a couple of talented understudies that are lurking in the shadow. Bear really blossoming under that veteran's leadership.
Bear 3 of 4 for 46 yards. Doyle escapes again. Turns the corner again. Inside the 10 and at the 8-yard line, finally chopped down by Zach Hamburger.
An absolute juggernaut out there is Doyle, going weak side this time, bounces off one in the backfield, shucks off Alex Bond, who has been a tackling machine, leaves a third guy in the dust, grasping at the AstroTurf he's kicking up behind him. How much more can you ask for?
First and goal. Devin Lloyd is back there looking for his second touchdown. He'll try and get to the corner, but Alex Bond has been doing yeoman's work on this defense for Chicago tonight, shuts him down. Mark Lopez asked in the chat, I wonder if Vancouver has more rushing yards than Chicago has total yards. That is correct. Vancouver has 227 rushing yards to 240 total yards for Chicago. Doyle looking for a hat trick. Can only get to the 4, third down and goal.
And that's just your turn, then my turn. Now your turn, now my turn. And there's going to be a fresh pair of legs in that backfield every single down right now. And Chicago's defense is on their heels. Alex Bond has been playing every down this drive and has to go up there again.
4's up. We're headed to the final frame, and Vancouver has Chicago in the rearview mirror. Up 31-14 and on the doorstep for more. This is the Simulation Football League on the Virtual Football Network. Third and goal at the 3. Lloyd is in there at the fullback spot. He has 1 touchdown tonight, looking to make it 2. And he can't pick his way through the Chicago defense. Ricky Robinson makes the tackle and will force a chip shot field goal from chance to win.
Something we've only said for the 3rd time tonight. Vancouver actually hits a 4th down.
Up and good, 34-14, 20-point gap established at the beginning of this 4th quarter. You're watching the Simulation Football League here on the Virtual Football Network. This week on VFN, SFL Week 4 is on tonight, Saturday, and Monday. And the UFL's final 3 weeks of the regular season starts Sunday and Wednesday. No other network gives you more football. The SFL lives on the Virtual Football Network.
You know what really boggles the mind about this second half so far from you, Mike?
Hit me.
It's that Vancouver has still managed, if we take out the whole 2-play drive where Vancouver ended the half, they have maintained their streak of scoring on every offensive possession so far today.
Haven't punted, haven't turned the ball over. It's been a perfect night offensively for Vancouver. Tomorrow, an SFL 4-pack of games is headlined by Washington at DC at 6:30 Eastern, followed by Lexington City, Queen City, and Minnesota, and LA against Arizona. The SFL lives here on BFN. Type attack, being chased by Lopez again, completes it to Caleb Giffis, and number 18 has not had nearly enough action thrown his way as he would like tonight.
Of course not. It's easy to, that's not a diva wide receiver comment either. That's just a matter of Caleb Giffis is one of their more reliable hands. He is the team's all-time leader in terms of touchdowns, receptions, as far as career numbers go. He should be a focal point of this offense outside of Pauly Truth, and yet he's not seen nary a whit.
Play action again. Patak lets it go. Incomplete. That time, Mark Lopez doing the job in coverage on Tarantino.
And this is something to say about what Ty Patak has kind of struggled to do, is consistently spread the ball around. He's only been able to effectively get the football to Caleb Giffis at times, John Fullerton at times, and Pauly Truth when he wins the one-on-one go route.
Again, a quick pass, complete to Truth. gets 4, 3rd down and 6. Pauly Truth now 5 of 8 receiving. Caleb Giffis 4 of 5. John Fullerton 4 of 6. Tarantino 1 of 3. Jackson's only been thrown to once for 3 yards. Overall, type attack 15 of 23 with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions tonight. 3rd and 6. The rush comes again, and the ball is slapped out of Patak's hands as he was going to throw. Another masterclass of a defensive drive for Vancouver.
I tell you, type attack, I need to know what that meant. Forget what his workout routine is. I need to know what he eats for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because he has gotten hit so many times tonight and still popping up off the turf again and again like it never happened.
David Ruesch punts again for Chicago. Another good one back to the 15-yard line. Lockett going to bring it out up near the 20 to the 26.
Whenever we spoke, I had the opportunity to speak to both franchises. You mentioned how Chicago said they want to play very aggressively, and they have tonight. It's blown up in their face a little bit, I think, but it does happen when you have a high-octane, high-powered, big gambling offense and defense. It's either going to go really for you or really against you, and tonight the coin's landed the wrong way.
Throw out to the flat for Suddeth, and he's going to go backwards 2 yards. 278 to 23 in the rushing category tonight. And there was another quote from those interviews that I really was interested in. It was Chicago presenting a really unique challenge with their roster composition. That was said by the Vancouver coaching staff. And it looks like they've solved that interesting roster composition and solved the challenge so far tonight.
Saw exactly where I was going with what I was trying to lead into there before that next snap happened. It is that roster composition. It is that Chicago on defense has 3 defensive linemen, has 1 linebacker. So they've gone the route of having 4 safeties and asking a couple of those safeties to play linebacker roles.
And into that really weak box, Vancouver has just run the ball and run the ball extremely effectively.
And this is the first punt Vancouver has elected to take all night.
First action of the game for Mitch Berger as he punts it away back to Chicago. I think they had to wake Mitch up off the sideline. He was comfy. He was wrapped up, pillow and a blanket.
I'm telling you, he had the hand warmers in place. I saw the cup of hot chocolate over there for him too.
Chicago back on the field, 6:42 to go. Vancouver has pretty much wrapped this one up, and will start 3-0, barring something disastrous or a miracle. Attack, looking deep, double coverage, incomplete. Vancouver through the first 2 games of the season. I'm going to read you all of the offensive statistical categories they were first in. First downs, total yards, second in passing yards, first in average yards per play, third in rushing yards, first in rushing yards allowed, third in first down conversion attempts, and top 3 in third down conversion percentage. Patak under fire again, finds the wide open Tarantino for a first down across midfield. First in the league in points off turnovers. First in the league in yards per play allowed at 5.3.
We're already
and
on my
first
second hand.
in opponent rushing plays at average of 12 per game.
Mike, you got to let me get my shoes off and my socks off so I can keep counting. That's so many things they were first in, man. Holy.
The point of all of that statistical nonsense is that I think this may be one of the best 3-game starts to a season in SFL history. And it's not just the statistical domination. It's who they beat. Blitzed Baltimore on the road. survived Arizona on the road, and then a Chicago team with a very unconventional style as Ty Patak takes off and only gets one, who on their day can run up the score with anybody. That's three very difficult challenges that they have overcome and come out unscathed.
And the only one where it even looked like they were in a little bit of a rocky moment was the Arizona game, right? And you expect that to happen in divisional matchups. You expect those games to be a little ugly. Oh, my!
Kevin Brackett gets his second sack of the game. It has been a sack party for Vancouver. Their sixth overall, correction, third sack for Brackett, one for Giudice, two for Mark Lopez.
Oh no, and that one's going to be on the film. Let me tell you so many times over the weekend, that is just an absolute missed block, turnstile tackle there.
Meanwhile, the defensive numbers for Chicago. Only one tackle for loss, no sacks, 3 passes defended. Alex Bond leads all tacklers with 11 on the night.
Alex doing that hybrid outside linebacker, occasionally lining up at safety, doing a little bit of double duty, but he's been seen on almost every snap.
But had a game break to check in on the other game going on right now. That's Oklahoma City and Fort Worth. And if you're not watching both of those streams on YouTube, it's all Fort Worth. 31-9. Approaching the end of the third quarter. Fort Worth at home against Oklahoma City. Fort Worth looking to pick up their first win of the year.
I was kind of wondering what was happening over there. We hadn't heard from it.
I was going to say, is it 0-0 or what? No game breaks for us today, as both of the games in this block look pretty done and dusted here coming down to the end. Big hit laid on J.W. Doyle.
A little bit of menace there, a little bit of aggression. Ricky Robinson lining up and moving like a safety, even though he's a scrawny 5'11", 215.
Seen enough from this Chicago defense tonight, aside really Alex Bond.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. The defense apparently non-existent on that play, as Devin Lloyd continues to have an absolute field day. He's already got a career night. I said he might get to 200 earlier. That run puts him pretty close.
And it just feels like maybe 1 or 2 more snaps with how well that offensive line is blocking and how efficiently the wide receivers and tight ends are all picking up these blocks at the second level, allowing him to gallivant forward for 15 to 20 yards before a defender even gets close to him.
Devin Lloyd, 24 carries, a $183 and a touchdown. And Doyle with the big stiff arm as well. But Lloyd, 7.6 yards per carry. And Doyle hasn't had a bad night either. 23 carries, a $129, 2 touchdowns. He's been the bruiser back, but Devin Lloyd has just been pure speed.
What I wouldn't give, just to have the ability to check and see what those yards after contact are for J.W. Doyle. He must be over 100, or at least up over 80. It feels like he keeps getting hit in the backfield, shrugging someone off, and then going getting 5 yards, going getting 10 yards every time.
416 total yards for Vancouver tonight. Of that, 312 rushing yards. And they put the finesse back in the power back spot. Doesn't work out too well for Lloyd that time.
That's one of the only times I think I've seen them ask Doyle to run up the A gap, and the last time they did, it wasn't out of the split back formation, it was single back. And I think that was also with 4 wide receivers, or at least 3 wide receivers and a tight end out to the side to really spread the box.
3rd and 2. They got Lloyd out there in the fullback spot with Bear behind him. They'll give it to Lloyd, up the gut, first down.
And this is one of those moments where I actually agree with the decision to have Lloyd run that, because it's such a short line to gain. You're pretty sure that your line's going to win those matchups. Get the scat back in.
2 minutos remaining in this one. All Vancouver, as Lloyd has hit the double century, exactly 200 yards rushing on the Knights. Lloyd again, now over 200 at 208, and Chicago will start the ritual burning of the timeouts.
Congratulations to Devin Lloyd on a banner night. This is a coming out party and a half. If he's not the offensive player of the week, I don't know who would be.
I mean, it's either going to be him or J.W. Doyle. Both of them
we got
probably have equal claims to
this
it.
weekend. Oh,
this is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I was so sure he was about to go to the end zone after he lowered his shoulder and put the safety on his head, on his butt. That was so close.
Another one for Lloyd. How about this young man?
Just a change of position and a change of scenery seemed to have done him a world of good. I don't even recognize this guy from last season. Are you? This is Devin Lloyd, the Riverhog.
Early in his career, he was mostly used as a receiver, was changed to running back this year. And he has just been given all kinds of space to run. Doyle on the bench the entire last part of this drive, just giving this young man his adulation by this packed Canada Field crowd.
Riverhogs wide receiver core must be absolutely grieving the loss of Devin Lloyd, especially with also losing Connor Weston. Rough to see both of those guys going to other teams, and especially rough to see them balling out for him.
Third and 2. Doyle back on the field. He'll pick up the first down, and he'll get to the 4-yard line. Vancouver on the road to 350 rushing yards.
And we're going to see victory formation here, I think, but this would be an easy score again for Vancouver, who's only been forced to punt one time tonight. An absolute domination on offense from bell to bell.
Andy Hamilton, Mark Lopez, and company will call off the dogs. Take nothing away from the rest of the team, but Devin Lloyd, 30 carries, 211 yards, 7 yards per carry. One of the best single-game rushing performances in league history, as Vancouver dominates from start to finish, and they win this one 34-14 over Chicago, and they are now 3-0.
This is just one performance that's going to absolutely go down in the history books, not just because it's an absolute monster of a breakout performance from Devin Lloyd and an incredible effort by J.W. Doyle as well. This is a team effort as a whole. This is one where the only times that they gave up any points were instances where Polytruth is going to get his occasionally and Time Attack is going to find a window. There's nothing to take away outside of you won this game planned everything right, and take the weekend off with your head held high.
363 rushing yards combined for Vancouver out of their 473 total. I mean, Christian Brown didn't do much tonight. His individual stats 104 yards, 9 of 12, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. A really efficient night for Vancouver. And that's really all you could say about Vancouver on both sides of the ball tonight, Alex, just efficiency.
Don't overthink it. You've got a halfback in the backfield who's averaging 7 yards a carry on 30 carries. Just feed the man the rock.
And on defense, right, they limited Chicago, who we know can score points in bunches, to just 14. And those 14 points came on 2 kind of busted plays down the field, 1 to Fullerton and 1 to Paulie Truth. Other than that, it was game plan as usual as they limit Chicago to just 244 total yards.
Nail on the head there. And really, Chicago's got to have to come up with a new game plan, especially when they're on the road and they're under adversity, because so far they have struggled to put up points when they have been road warriors.
Player of the game, I'm going to say it again one more time just for those of you in the back who may be hard of hearing. Devin Lloyd, 30 carries, 211 yards, and a touchdown, 7 yards per carry, as Vancouver continues to look like the best team in the league, and it may not be close. They win this one 34-14. For our entire SFL crew here in Vancouver, Takeda Yuki and Justin reside on stats. Alex West alongside me in the broadcast booth. Cameron Irvine, our supreme overlord. My name is Michael Turillo. Thank you so much for your patronage this evening. We'll see you next week, or tomorrow night, for more SFL action.